All right, y'all. Welcome back to Dev Spot Podcast. We back, y'all. Hoop season right around the corner. You notice my time of year. I love the NBA. Still football season, so we got some more NFL content coming in the weeks to come. But with the NBA coming in a few days, thought I'd get my predictions out there. So we got my standings for the East and the West. I got my awards for this year, and I also got my All NBA teams. We're gonna get right into it, starting with the East. Now, listen, this is not my projection on how I think they're gonna finish in the playoffs. It's literally just 1 through 10 going into the playoffs with the play-in all the way up to the 1 seed. So let's jump into the East. Coming in at 10, we got the Pacers. I think they got one of the better young guard duos with Tyrese, and you got Ben, but I just don't know. And I also like the addition of Bruce Brown, but I just don't really think that they got enough to compete with some of these teams ahead of them yet. I mean, Miles Turner, I don't know if they're going to I think they at some point end up trading him. So I think they kind of like in a rebuild, but I think they got enough to at least get into the play-in. Then you move a spot up to the number 9 spot, the Nets. I like what the Nets have a little bit when you look at their defense. We look at Mikal Bridges as a two-way player. Claxton is a good defender. Cam Johnson is a good shooter and a good rebounder. Not the best defender, but as far as help go, he's pretty good. We'll see what Ben Simmons is able to do. I'm really interested to see what Ben Simmons brings this year. If he's able to stay on the court and give him a little bit of offense, we know what he can do on the defensive end if he's healthy. So we'll see what they got. But I think they're coming at 9. Coming in at 8 is my surprise of the East side. I got the Detroit Pistons coming in as the 8th seed. I know they're young. I know it's a lot of moving pieces and whatever. But with Cade coming back, they done added Azor, one of the twins. They have Ivy coming in. I think Ivy by midseason might be coming off the bench, and Azura might be starting. They got Boban. They got 4 bigs that they can rotate around. I just like what they got. They got a couple of vets now with Monte Morris. They added Alec Burks. I like all of these pieces. So I think that's enough to jump those 2 teams and get in for the 8th spot. The 7th spot is the Knicks. As you all know, I'm not the biggest Knicks fan. When you look at what Brunson brings for a leadership aspect, he didn't really bring it in the USA this summer, but for the Knicks, he brings it. I think Randall have a good year again, and I think that's enough to come over these teams. The East is a little light, so I think they kind of slide in. Don't see them doing too much in the All, but 7th seed it is. The Hawks. I'm looking for the Hawks to be a little bit better this year. I want to even move them up some, but I just can't do it. But I mean, I think them finally getting rid of John Collins and kind of just getting rid of the whole, is he going to be here? Is he not? What we doing? How we moving forward? That whole distraction. I think another year with Trey and Dejounte, I think they do pretty good. I think they'll be able to move up a little bit. They still got Clint Capella, who to me is one of the best bigs in the league. I wish we was able to take him from him with the Heat, but I think they'd be okay. The Cavs, I think they'll be a really good regular season team and finish 5th. But I just still not sold on the 2 small guards and the two bigs that both need to be in the paint. It's just like it just doesn't fit that well. Now them adding Max Strus, shout out to Max Strus, left my Heat, but I think him adding that shooting is gonna help some. But I just feel like they got to get rid of, I think, Jared Allen and maybe even one of the guards, or you know what I'm saying? They got to find a way to mix that up. The 2 small guards with the 2 post-up centers. I just don't see that working come playoff time. Philly coming in at 4, even with or without James Harden, I think they can finish 4. I think they have a little bit harder time come playoff time without him. But Embiid is still one of the best players in the league. As long as he's out there, they got Maxey. They have a little bit of depth. I feel like they have a pretty good team. I just don't think they be up there with these 3 teams, but I do think they have enough to get past all of them. Embiid will still be in the MVP discussion. Tyrese Maxey is one of the best young guards in the league. They still got Harris, who is he says he's coming back to for some vengeance this year. We'll see how that looks for him. Coming in at 3, I got Miami. Now, listen, I know we didn't get Dame. I know that sucks, but I still feel like we are a better team than we were last year as far as when we look at our depth. Now, they were not as good as these 2 teams I'm about to name right now, but we got a backup center. We have better guard play. We still got Jimmy and Ben. We still got Spo. I think that Jimmy would be more locked in from the beginning of the season with the way last season ended up getting to the finals and losing. And with us, all of the tension of we might get Dame, we might not. Him going to one of our rivals, I think that makes him kind of turn up and care a little bit more about the regular season than he usually do. So I think we'd be good to go as far as that's concerned. The 2 seed, obviously I have Boston. If you've been watching any of my previous episodes, I'm not that sold on how Boston's going to look when it comes to playing in the playoffs against like the team I'm about to name in a minute. But as far as the regular season go, I definitely think they have enough to stay up top. Jason Tatum doesn't really get hurt that much. Jaylen Brown doesn't really get hurt that much. The other guys, you know, KP and them, a little shaky as far as injuries go. Drew is somebody also that doesn't miss a lot of time. So I think they'll be able to play their minutes and get going and have enough success to get to the 2nd seed. When it comes playoffs, we'll see. Coming in at number 1, we have the Bucks, with Giannis. still one of the two best players in the league to me. And now he has a killer and Dame coming to help him out and move Middleton to the 3. I think they're gonna kind of ease Middleton in over the season. You're not gonna see the great numbers, but I think he's gonna be efficient. I think he's gonna be able to step in spots where he needed. And it's just now it's more like a luxury for him to be the third option rather than having to be the second. I think they have enough to finish number 1 in the East. Let's move right along to the West. Coming in at 10, I have Memphis. Now, I know I've been seeing a lot of stuff about Memphis, and everybody's a lot higher on them than I am. But with Ja missing 25 games, I do not think Marcus Smart is going to be able to I don't think Marcus Smart will really be able to take away what Ja Morant was bringing to the table. And I don't know about Jaren Jackson. He just like, even though I know he won Defensive Player of the Year last year and he's looking to take a step, it's just something about him that I'm just not sold as the number 1 option, that he's going to have to be 1 or 2 with him and Desmond Bane while Ja's out. And I know they had success over the last couple of years, but I just think that runs out. I think they not having as solid of a backup point guard to come in behind Marcus Smart, I'm just not sold on the depth, really. Like, I think they'll still make it because Ja will be back and he'll be able to play most of those games, but I think they'll be kind of, the West is going to be so tight that 25 games, if they don't come out the gate swinging, it's going to be tough for them to move up a little bit. This is a team that was really big on last year and everybody was high on. They did really good. But the Kings, I see the Kings taking a big step back this season. And it's just a simple fact. They didn't make any adjustments this offseason. They pretty much running it back with the same team plus the rookies they brought in. But, I mean, the Sabonis Fox pick and roll, I think, was just something we was like, the way they was running, it wasn't seen. Now we have tape on it. I just don't see them being able to repeat that. They was able to bring Harrison Barnes back. I thought they could have probably upgraded at his position. They didn't do that. They still got Herter, who I like, but I just don't see them being a good enough team to take that next step. We'll see what Davion Mitchell do. Hopefully he's a little bit better on offense and he can play more minutes, because in the playoffs, even though he was one of the best defenders, he could not score at points and he was missing shots, so he couldn't stay on the floor. Hopefully he can stay on the floor more, but I just don't see him being much higher. This AFC, the Warriors, I know people say as long as you got Steph Curry, you can't count them out, but I'm just not that high on him. I know that Chris Paul is somebody that's everywhere he's gone. I've told y'all many times how much of a floor riser Chris Paul is, but when you look at what the Warriors needed, I just don't know if he's going to be able to fit that role. Like, it's looking like he could come off the bench. That would be a lot better than him starting. We have to see what it's like once Draymond gets back from his injury, but I just don't like the depth. They count too much on young. I mean, you look at Kuminga, you look at Moody, they have to take huge steps this season. Draymond's already starting the season hurt. Clay, I think he's regressing. It's just a lot of moving pieces. But obviously they have Steph Curry, who to me is the 3rd best player in the NBA. So they could be higher. I wouldn't be surprised if they're a little higher just based off of his greatness. Wiggins will be back hopefully for the full season this year. GP2, they got pieces. But I don't know if I'm that sold right now. We'll revisit this as the season go along, as I see how Chris Paul gel in with them. Coming in the 7th spot, I have the Thunder. The Thunder last year made big strides. I mean, when you look at Shea was first team, Giddey made huge steps as I think he's one of the top playmakers in the NBA. You got Jalen Williams, the one that's the star, Jalen Williams. I think he's going to take another leap, and he's one of the better two-way young players, in my opinion. Then the other Jalen off the bench that you add Chet to the mix. When I tell you, if it wasn't for Wemby, Chet would be the freak that everybody's talking about. He's going to be big time. Him and Wemby are going to be rivals for the next few years. So for the Thunder to be the 10th seed last year or what they had, or 9th seed, I think, last year, I think they could definitely take a couple more steps. I definitely think Chet raises their ceiling defensively. When you look at with Lou Dort, now you have a lockdown defender on the perimeter, a lockdown defender on the inside, who's going to lead the blocks. If it's not him, it's going to be Wemby for the next however many years. Great offensive player, a playmaker. They pretty much have everything you need. They have some shooting. I really want to move them up, even a little higher, but we'll see how these other teams do with these injuries. I'm just trying not to be the injuries this year. So going up to number 6, we have the Pelicans. If Zion Williamson is healthy, they could even be higher than this. But right now, I'm betting on Zion Williamson to be able to stay healthy this season. Him and B.I. to jail. I think B.I. got a real bad rep not got a bad rep. He played horrible in the USA games this summer. I think he's coming back with a chip on his shoulder to show, hey, man, I just wasn't comfortable in the role I was playing. I'm ready to ball. I think he has a really good season. I'm hoping for him to have a really good season. I said I was out on B.I. I'm back in on B.I. and Zion. I think they'll be good. CJ, He just got to take his time, hit his shots here and there. They got Jose off the bench. They have Troy Murphy off the bench. They have Herb Jones, who's a lockdown defender. They still got Valanciunas. I like him. Like, they have what they need. They could be somebody that's knocking on the door of contender if Zion can stay healthy and continue to show that he's the generational talent that we've seen. Coming up another spot, we have another team that a lot of people are high on. I like them, but I don't know. We have the Lakers coming in at 5. When you look at LeBron going into season 21, it's amazing for him to still be even in the consideration for top 5, top 10, top whatever y'all want to put him at right now in year 21. I hope AD is able to stay healthy. When he was on the floor last year, he looked like one of the best players in the league. I'm hoping for that to continue. But with LeBron in year 21, is he still your best player? AD it's just a lot. Like, I need AD to fully take that step as their best player. If LeBron is still the best player in this season, I don't see them being much higher than 5. Austin Reeves is a good piece. I think he's being a little overhyped, though. I think he's definitely a player you would want on your team, but it's not what they think as far as like, oh, it's a big 3. It's a dynamic duo with some good pieces, and he's one of the better pieces of the role players. Then you got Gabe Vincent and D'Lo. I think they said they're going to start D'Lo. I think that'll be solid, bring Gabe Vincent off the bench. I like the pieces. They got Christian Woods. Christian Woods being able to play next to Anthony Davis. I'm saying it. Christian Woods needed to be next to a dominant center or forward or whatever that can block shots and protect the rim, because his defense is horrible. So he's going to have to almost match almost all of his minutes with AD so that he can be effective and get you buckets without getting you killed on the other end. Moving right up, we got the Clippers. Now, Lord, like I said, I know I'm asking for a lot. I already asked for Zion to be healthy. Please give me a season of Kawhi and PG. I know they way back at the bubble, they blew it. We haven't seen them healthy since. The last time we seen them on the court together, they got to the conference finals. I want one season of them at their best. And I know it's Kawhi and PG, so they not going, even if they don't get hurt, there's going to be some games where they have to manage them injuries, and Kawhi needs to just cook, so they're going to have to manage them. So I think they could have been the 3 seed, but because of those few little games missing here and there, I got them here as the 4 seed. This 3 seed, I know y'all be like, oh my God. I got the Mavs as coming in at the 3 seed. I really liked what they did this offseason. I know a lot of y'all are saying that the Luka and Kyrie pairing didn't work. It was only like 15 game sample size. When you look at LeBron and D-Wade, their first 17 games, they was 8 and 9. It take a little bit of time. A whole offseason, Kyrie didn't re-sign. There isn't going to be any contract. Oh, what is this? What is going on? Everybody signed long-term. I think they work great together. Then you look at Josh Green. When you look at Josh Green, he's not the best small forward, but when you look at how ball dominant and how many points Kyrie and Luka going to score, they need somebody like him that don't need a lot of shots. Don't need a lot of touches, but he a good 40% catch and shooter, and he gonna get a lot of points in transition and hustle plays. Plus his defense that he brings alongside of them is very much so needed. So with him being able to raise his 3-point shooting the way he have, I think he's he's a really good fit next to them. Then you look at Grant Williams, who's kind of in the same boat. He don't need a lot of offensive touches. He can shoot the 3 pretty well, and he's going to bring a touch of like aggressiveness that the Mavs was lacking last year. I think he bring that, whereas the Boston Celtics might have not needed that much from him. The Mavs need that force, that like leadership in that aspect. He brings that for them, and they, from everything I'm seeing and reading, they are going with Lively over Dwight Powell. Thank you, God. We don't have to worry about that no more. Powell get to come in now, maybe play 12, 15 minutes. I know Lively a rookie, but when you're playing with Luka, literally all you have to do is have a brain and decent hands and be able to catch the ball and dunk it in the hole. Luka is going to draw so much attention that all he got to do is catch it. That was Dwight Powell's biggest problem. He couldn't catch the ball. So now we got somebody that can catch the ball. I'm liking what I see from Lively. I need Hardy to take a step this season. Tim Hardaway being able to come off the bench is huge. I really like that. I like Omax. I like a lot of their pieces. I think, and also I'm looking at this as a revenge year for Luka. Obviously, they missed the playoffs last year. A lot went on at the end and just blowing games they were supposed to win. I think he come out and have a great season. Kyrie going to be able to know I'm the second guy, but he going to have a good season as well. I think they come in and surprise a lot of people. And I think Luka's going to stay healthy this year. I think with the 65 game, I don't think he's going to really care about like the 65 game for the award, but it's going to be more concentrated on taking these games serious and not sitting out this random game here just as rest, and then you lose. Now you missed the off by a game. I think a lot of that is going to wake him up. And when you a demon, like I think Luka is a demon, sometimes you need a thing like, let me miss the off to wake you up and let you know, okay, it's not just easy. I got to come and bring it every night. I think that's going to wake him up, and he going in for a big year. Coming in at the 2 spot, I was flipping back and forth, but at the 2 spot, I got the Suns. I do think they're going to be great. I think they're going to be hard to beat. When you look at KD, D-Book, and Bradley Beal together, that's tough. They got Eric Gordon coming off the bench. They've added in some pieces. They got rid of DeAndre Ayton, which for whatever reason, DeAndre Ayton and Monty couldn't get along. It just didn't seem like that was a fit. So I think even though nerd people saying it's not that great, I think that just the getting the DeAndre Ayton burden kind of out of there is going to be big for them. I think they come in second. Hopefully they have health and KD doesn't get hurt, but I'm looking for D-Book to take that step, just like I'm looking for AD for D-Book to take that step as the best player, where KD can kind of just get his shots up, do his thing, and D-Book kind of take on the heavier load, and I think they'll be good come playoffs. The top spot, I got the Nuggets, the defending champs. When you look at what they bring to the table, Jamal Murray, Jokic, it's the same old thing. They've been doing it. Aaron Gordon. They did lose Bruce Brown, and they didn't do a lot to replace the pieces. I got to see how Bron and some of these other pieces kind of step up. But when you look at the consistency, Jokic doesn't really get hurt that much. He's consistent. Jamal Murray coming off a year of being pretty healthy. I think that they have enough to kind of just coast through the season. They have their offense. It's not nothing they have to get used to. A lot of these other teams kind of got pieces where they got to, for the most part, their core is still there. Aaron Gordon, they're good to go. I got them up top. Those are my East and my West standings. We will be able to discuss. I have people on throughout the couple weeks to kind of see like what they think about that, but that's what I got for right now. Moving along, we're going into the NBA awards for this season. Coming in at MVP, like I said, I'm looking for a big guy, a big revenge season for this guy. My boy Luka, I think he come in and get MVP this season. The numbers is there. He literally, if you're just looking at numbers, he could be the MVP every season. The only reason he's not the MVP is because of the standings and where they finish. If he can finish as a 3 or 4 seed, I don't see there's no way with the numbers I believe he's putting up this year that he's not going to be the MVP. Defensive player of the year, my boy Bam. I think he's the best defender in the NBA. When all these lists come out and he's not top 10 or he's on the back end of the top 10, it's crazy disrespectful. Hopefully we'll be able to play Thomas Bryant with him a little bit more so we can kind of get him to somebody that can rebound and things like that. Kevin Love rebounds so that when he's on the perimeter locking up guards and when he's locking up wings and he's battling with bigs, it'll be a little bit more known because we're not giving up the offensive rebound on the back end and they still scoring. This is his season. I'm looking forward to it. Moving along to most improved player, Cade Cunningham. When you look at what he was able to do before he got hurt last season, and now what he's gonna do this year, I definitely see an all-star appearance in this season. Like I said, I got them finishing 8th in the East. What else is there? Moving on to 6th man of the year, 6th man, I'm going with Malik Monk. I think Malik Monk is like one of them players that's like a video game type player. That some of the shots he makes, some of the shots he takes, he kind of like a J.R. Smith where it's like, why would you take that? Oh, but it went in. I love to watch him play. Ever since Kentucky, I think he'll be able to help them out a lot this season coming off the bench, and he's going to get that. Rookie of the year, it's a 3-man race, Wemby, Chet, and Scoot. I'm going with Wemby. I think Wemby is one of the best players in the world already. I'm not going to say where I think he is because we got to see him play, but I don't think in the first 3 years, I think he'll be a top 10 player. I'm just going to say that in the first 3 years in his career, I think he'll already be able to make that jump. It's crazy what he's able to do. When you look at coach of the year, I think it's finally time for my guy, Spo, to get his credit. Everybody's been talking about how great of a coach he is. If he's able to finish 3rd in the East this year, ahead of some of these other teams, with a little bit lack of, like, we don't have some of the players that some of the other teams have, but we have culture, we got our depth, we got players that know how to play with each other. I think they finally shown what's going on, and he gets that this year. And then coming in for clutch player of the year, we're going with our MVP, Luka. I think he had a lot of clutch points last year. I think De'Aaron Fox led the league in clutch points, but I think this year, it's just going to be one of them virtuoso seasons. I think he's going to have a season where it's just like, oh, snap. Okay, this is where all the hype come from around him, and I feel like he locked in. And we're going to finish the list with all-NBA team. First team all-NBA, we got Luka, Tatum, Jokic, Embiid, and Giannis. Now, this is the year they say it's positionless, so we'll hopefully, I pray that they'll finally put Jokic and Embiid where they belong on first team, which they should have been doing for the last 3 years, but hopefully they do get it right this year. Obviously, as long as Giannis and Luka is healthy, they're the only players that they made it 5 years in a row. So between them two players, if they're healthy, they both pretty much a lock for the first team. And I think Tatum took that step as a top 5 player this year. He been first all NBA first team the last 2 years. I don't see that changing this year. Second team all NBA, I got my boy Chef Curry. D Book, who I said I think is going to take that step as the best player on the Suns. This is where it get tricky. My two hopefuls, Zion Williamson and Kawhi Leonard, are my forwards for the second team all NBA. I hope they stay healthy. If they stay healthy, Zion is one of the best players we have as far as 25 and under, is for other than Luka and Tatum. And then we look at Kawhi, we know he's a top 5 talent when healthy. We know what he brings to the table on both ends. He just has to stay out there. If they're both able to stay out there, I think they second team all NBA. Bam, defensive player of the year. I think you also have good offensive numbers this year. Second team. Finishing up with third team all NBA. I pray that this guy gets some credit and y'all stop sleeping on him so much. But Trae Young, I ain't gonna say I think he's gonna have a big year. He has a big year every year. 27-8, 27-9, whatever you need. Just gotta do a little bit more winning. And I guess not get into it with his coach because y'all held that against him all season. Shea, I think he's still gonna be a great player, but I don't see him finishing first team again this year. I definitely think he's gonna take a little bit of a step back, and these other guys are kind of taking a step up. So third team, which is still respectable. Jimmy Butler, like I said, I think he also takes the regular season a little bit more serious this year. He was second team last year, but I got Zion moving ahead of him just because it's just what it is. It's just too much, too nasty. And it's the guy I've been talking about all offseason, Anthony Edwards. He also takes a step this year, even though I don't have them making the playoffs, which is something that I'm going to talk about in a minute before I go off. I think his numbers this year are going to be great, and they're going to be right there pinching at it. I think he still has enough to at least make third team All-NBA. And then my wild card take of the All-NBA teams, I have Wemby making All-NBA third team in the center spot. I just feel like what he's about to be able to do with the Spurs, I think he's going to have them not compete for he's going to have them like in the 12th. Like they're going to be better than what you think. They're not going to be in the play-in, but they're going to be right there. I think Wemby numbers is going to be somewhere like 22, 8 rebounds, 3 blocks. Like I think he's going to put up numbers where it's like, wow. We haven't seen that in a while where a rookie made All-NBA, but I think the hype around him, as long as he can live up to the hype of what he's supposed to do, and he's getting most of the shots. There's other than Vessel, there's not a lot of guys on the Spurs that need looks. Doug McDermott taking threes, they don't have it. So it's like he's going to be getting looks. As long as he's healthy, the impact he's going to have on both ends, I think it's going to be hard to keep him off this list. And I got him closing out my list for third team All-NBA. Now, those are my teams for the playoffs. Those are my team for the awards. And those are my All-NBA team. I want to know what y'all think. Let me know. Get back at me. Peace.